Hi, this is Amy M. Burns from amymburns.com and author of the new publication, Using Technology with Elementary Music Approaches, published by Oxford University Press and available from Oxford and Amazon today. In this episode, I'm going to go over 10 tips and tricks for using technology with elementary music education, regardless of your teaching scenario. As many of us are teaching in new scenarios right now, and we have been for the past 9 months, technology has become a necessity for us to be able to teach and reach all of our students. So I hope these 10 tips are helpful. They will be ones that you know already and some that might be brand new. If you want to skip around the video, click the show more below this video so that you can see how it's organized and you can just click on the tip you want to listen to. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and like the video. Let's start with our 10 tips. Tip number 1 is using a virtual instrument. In any scenario that we're working with right now, whether we're hybrid or we're in person with a lot of restrictions or we're remote, virtual instruments have become a necessity because even in person, a lot of us can no longer share instruments. Or our budgets really didn't allow us to make very significant instrument kits. We could make very useful ones, but we couldn't add something like an xylophone. So this one here, playxylo.com, is a great virtual instrument because it works on multiple devices. It works on iPads, touchscreen, Chromebooks, laptops, and you can share the link out and students can use it. You can use number keys to play, or you can touch the screen. It plays more than 2 notes at a time. And there are some new features. If you look at the eyeball here, you can now put it in BoomWhacker colors. This is wonderful because many of us don't have these colors over here. That's really actually to a very young toddler xylophone are these colors. So this is great because you get BoomWhacker colors. So now you can make your tutorial videos using this. And like what I'm using right now, Loom. Solfege, let's add solfege. Chromatics, we finally get a really cool chromatic system. And you can use the keyboard again, and then the winter theme, which is great. And if you play this, it will play Jingle Bells. So these are all under this little view button so that you can change the views on this app. So this makes it a really wonderful app for multiple devices in multiple teaching scenarios. And that is my tip number 1, virtual instruments. A little side note, go to scratch.mit.edu if you're looking for more than just a virtual xylophone. Type in what you're searching for, drum, boomwhackers. You'll find people who have coded them and you can share them as well. Number 2 is splitting the screen. Splitting the screen is very beneficial for us elementary music educators because we need to be able to play a song that's on the screen and use the virtual instrument at the same time. In addition, we like our students to do the same thing. This can look very different on multiple devices, so I'm going to show you multiple ways to split the screen. One way is not better than the other. It's the way that works best for you and your students and the devices they are using. So I'm going to show you a lot of different options. Number 1 is the extension from Chrome Web Store, Split Screen for Google Chrome. Now, this has to be installed, so this might be already, you might just check this one off your list, like I can't do it because I can't install Chrome extensions on my students' devices or my own device. But if you can, this one is really convenient to use and it has some cool little features. You would just install it onto Chrome. Then when you're over here, let's say using the song Lemonade on the virtual BoomWhackers songbook BoomWhacker Google Slides I created, and then you want to use the xylo, and now we're going to uncheck it and uncheck the winter theme. So we're going to just do this in BoomWhacker colors to copy here the BoomWhacker colors. So now I want to split the screen. So a few ways to do it with that extension. I would go into the extensions, hit the split screen. It gives me options. That's what I like about this extension. You can do like 4. There's different options you can use. And I'm just going to do the basic here of 1 by 2. So it right aligned and left aligned it, and now you have a really great split screen just by using extension quick, easy, boom. However, a lot of us can't use that. So in that raised shape or form, let's do another way. You could take a screen like this and then take one like this. So you remove the tabs and then you just put them up on screen next to each other. Now mine already resized because of that extension, but you would just use the arrows to resize. This is a great way to show your students how to do this on their devices if they're using Chromebooks or laptops. Now the best way is not to explain it to the kids, it's really to show it. So make a very short little tutorial video and show it. Now here's another thing you can do. Another option. If you are on a Mac, hover over the green button, because I usually do this to enter full screen, but there's 2 other options. You can tile windows to the left or right of the screen. So if I take this window and tile it to the left, it's going to ask me, what do you want to tile to the right? I want to tile this one to the right. Now I split the screen. That is using a Mac laptop. Pretty cool, right? That one I just stumbled on. I didn't even know it could do that. And if you hit the escape button, it will come out of that mode. So we have that. There we go. Those are options. Split screen extension, just taking the tab out and resizing the windows, and if you're on a Mac, hovering over that green and finding that option underneath the enter full screen and go into the tile windows left or right. So that's tip number 2, splitting the screen here using a device such as a laptop or a computer, desktop computer. But now I'm going to jump devices. Tip number 3 is to show you how to do this on a Chromebook and how to split the screen on an iOS iPad. So I am on my daughter's Chromebook here for tip number 3 onto splitting the screen on a Chromebook. Many of you already know this, but it's always good to review this or to make a tutorial for your students on how to do this, because many of the students I've researched are on Chromebooks. So when you look at this, you have 2 tabs open again. You have the Exilo app and the BoomWhacker songbook. So here, what you would do is you pull out the tab you want, and then you're going to use the Alt key
and the bracket key
and put it over to the left. So I use the Alt and bracket. Alt bracket, and I use the left bracket to make that go to the left. Over here, you would think Alt right bracket would do it. It really doesn't. You kind of have to just resize it. If yours does work that way, that's great, but this one I'm just going to resize it like that so that it fits both sides of the screen. So again, it's just your Alt left bracket to the left and then Alt bracket to the right. So it's just the Alt and the bracket keys, 2 keys. One thing to note, I've noticed this on 2 different Chromebooks. The smaller Alt won't do this. Okay, I'm using it right now and it's not doing a thing. It's the larger Alt that will do this. So I don't know if that's with everyone, but I have known that with Acer Chromebooks that the smaller Alt won't do this. It has to be the larger Alt key and the bracket. To create this in Seesaw so that you can split the screen so that you can play this Exilo app you see on screen and be able to read the music, and it's all a Seesaw activity. I'm using my screen recording button on the iOS to show you how to do this. So what I did is you can launch Safari or you can launch Chrome. It works in either web browser. I am in Safari and I have made it so that it is BoomWhacker colors and Solfege. Now what's really, again, really cool about what they updated is that makes its own individual link. So I copied that link and now I'm going to go into Seesaw. So I'm going to flip it up and go over here into Seesaw. I've started to create a new activity. I am going to start with the link. So now I'm going to paste that link right here. And I pasted from Safari. Wonderful. It's going to lock it. I'm going to unlock it, bring it down, resize this. We'll just move it that way. And put it over here to the lower right-hand side, and I'm going to lock it. Now I'm going to bring in the screenshot from my BoomWhacker activity. So here I am. I'm going to resize this so that it is half the screen, and I'm going to lock it. Little Seesaw tip. we all have the tech-savvy student who's going to unlock this and move it all over the place or delete it. One little tip I have learned from Chris Shiner is to go into the text tool. Maybe I'll just put a little R in there just for right now so I can get the little menu up. Go into the style. Many of you already do this. Clear it. And then I'm going to just put that, size it here. I just want it over here. All right, get rid of the R. We don't need it. I have it now. This is here, and then I'm going to lock it. At least it gives that extra layer where they can't actually move that song. They'll probably realize soon that it's locked and layered, but maybe they won't. Maybe it'll take them a little bit longer. All right, so now what the students do is they open this assignment and they have these two things. Your instructions would be to click the link. So they click the link and it opens. It's going to open in Safari probably in an iPad that hasn't been tinkered too much with the settings. It's probably going to open here in Safari. Then they have to click back into Seesaw. Then they have to lift up from the bottom, click and drag Safari to the screen. Now they have it. So they have a dual screen. The final thing that you're asking is, I want to record them playing it. Sure, you can screen record in Seesaw. That's using the microphone. However, when you screen record, you will not get this portion of the screen. I was trying to circle it. You will not get this portion. When I screen record, for example, it's going to do this, start recording, and I can play along. And then when I'm done, it's kind of in the way, but I can move this over. Move it over there, click done, and move it back. And now I have it, and I can play along. And then when I'm done, it's kind of in the way, but I can move this over. So you'll notice it's not there though. Yeah. That little portion of the screen that I've hidden, now it's back, is no longer there. So that's probably not the way I want to do it. If I want to play this on the screen with this, with the xylophone also shown on the screen, that is the screen recording tool I'm using right now. So use that screen recording tool and then you can record everything that you're seeing on the screen. Hold down the microphone. When you bring on that screen recording, that little button that's flashing red, hold that down so the microphone turns on. If you want them to sing, if you don't turn on the microphone, the iPad will only record what's inside the iPad, the sounds coming from itself. If you want to record them singing, make sure they hold on to the microphone. That is how you split screen in an iOS device. This is also how you would do this with a Seesaw activity.
Tips number 4, 5, 6, and 7 have to do with Google Slides. Regardless of our teaching scenario, what we are in right now, what we were in, where we're going, we had to adapt technology into our teaching atmosphere more than we probably did in the past. And a lot of us had to use Google Slides because it ended up being the go-to that our school asked us to use, or it was free, or our kids were on Chromebook, so we knew they could access it. Whatever the reason, Google Slides became something of a necessity for many music teachers. So I'm going to address some tips you probably already know and maybe some tips you don't know. Tip number 4, publish to the web. So if you look at this lesson I have right here, and a shout out to RCMEA's version of Sleigh Ride, it's beautiful. And I was using this with first graders right before the 12 noon dismissal before break. So we know they came from a snack. You know how they're going to be. You want to make it musical. You want to be able to teach, but you also want to make it fun. So I took their recording because it's phenomenal. And we know how to insert a YouTube video. It's insert video, put in the YouTube URL, and it will clean up the video. You won't have ads. You won't have comments. So I had that there, and I start with either questions or this day in music history. So today it started with questions. They listened to it. Then we jumped over to a big shout out to Eagerly Elementary Music and their YouTube channel because they created this great play along, and it was the easy play along. So my first graders could do this body percussion play along by sight reading. It was fabulous, and they really kept the beat well, and I love the way they created this. So it's a little ahead of the beat, but it's easy because it's slow. It's the big beat. It's really quite good, and they were very successful. So thank you, Eagerly Elementary Music. So step number 4 or tip number 4 is publishing to the web because this problem is real. When we get here and let's say we share out this file, we have an issue. Even when we're trying to present it in class, we have an issue. That menu bar goes all the way over, and I could just put the video somewhere else on the screen. But if I wanted to start on the whip crack, I can't because this gets in the way every time I'm trying to use this. So publishing to the web is wonderful, especially if you're going to share the file. If you're going to share the file with the students, publishing to the web is really the first choice you should look at. There are other choices, but this one has some features already built into it that you don't have to think about. One of them is here. If you don't restrict the access, once you publish it to the web, the sharing permissions will be set to go. 2, when you publish it to the web, it's that link you give them it's their link. They can't edit. They can't come back to anything in your drive with it. It's their link. They can't mess it up. It's meant for them. Number 3, even though you see it says it's going to auto advance the slides, unless you do something with this, it won't. So don't worry about that. And number 4, you can embed. So it has this iframe embed code, so you can grab that and embed it into Google Sites. But if I take this link and I copy it and I go over to a new tab and I paste it, we're coming into this is what the students look at. And this is great. Now, they can hit this, they can go into it. You saw the menu come out, but then it automatically reverted back to here. But what if you want to give them something with no menu? You want to publish to the web, but you want to edit that link so they have no menu. To do that, get into that link, and where it says pub ? Get rid of everything after it. So pub ? Get rid of everything after it. And I bet you know this, RM equals minimal. When you put that in at the end of the link, now the bar is gone. So you can share out this to them. It doesn't change anything else. It just took out the bar. And the menu bar is absolutely gone. And then they can still advance the slides, obviously, but the menu bar isn't there getting in the way. So that's tip number 4 of publishing to the web and using the RM equals minimal to get rid of the bar. Tip number 5. You want to do that, but not publish to the web. So what you want to do is get rid of the menu bar, but you're presenting. So you don't want to share out the file. You want to present the file and get rid of the menu bar. There's a few ways to do this. So if you notice right here, we're in edit mode. It says it right there in the URL. We are in edit mode. So what we're going to do is take out everything from edit on. All right. Delete, edit, and everything after it. This is preview. So you're going to go into preview mode. Preview ? RM equals minimal. When you do this, you now go into a present mode here with no bar. All right. So again, what did you do there? What I did, I'm going to backspace that there to see. We were in edit. Okay. And all we did was we took it out of the URL, everything edit and after. Take it out and put in preview. When you put in preview, ? RM equals minimal, you have it. You are in a present mode now, and there is no bar, and it works. And you just I use my down arrow. You can click on the screen. Wheel of names, awesome. And it works perfectly. And you got it. That's one way for you to get out of that bar. That's tip number 5. You're trying to present and it's stuck. That bar was stuck there. Tip number 6. Tip number 6 is you want to share the students, but you don't, for some reason, you don't want to publish to the web. So how can you share without publishing to the web? Well, you can go into your sharing mode here. So let me go over into this one. This is an easier one. So I want to share, but I don't want to publish to the web for some reason, some way, shape, or form. So that's fine. Go into the share mode. And I have this shared so that anyone with a link can view. So you copy the link. Go over here. Always test your links. Always, always, always. And here, instead, just take out edit and put in present. So everything at the end of the URL that was edit, put in present, and boom, you have it in present mode. Again, I want that bar out of the way. What are you going to do? It's really the same thing. So it's not like completely different. It's that
present question mark RM equals minimal, and you'll get rid of the bar. So the bar is now gone. Awesome, right? So remember, question mark RM equals minimal, and that works really nice. What if you want to force a copy? Get rid of everything where it says edit, where now it's in present, so it's present, but in your normal link it would be edit. Get rid of everything after edit, so it's edit and everything after, and put in copy. When you do this, you force a copy. Why is that good? Because when you force the copy, they can now edit that and it doesn't affect your original copy. That is really great. That is tip number 6. Those were about sharing. One last thing about this. When you create items inside a file like this, where I have I have audio files in this. When I did that force copy, it worked great because when I gave it to teachers, they could access all of these little sound files I made. Then teachers gave it and shared it out, force copied it to their students. And their students are in safe walls, so they did not get these files. And then they send requests back to me personally to get these files, and I can't share with them because their safe walls don't allow anyone to share with them. If you take a file like this, share it with one student and see if they can access it. Share it with that mature student and see if they can access.
Number 7. One of the problems I have when I'm presenting, whether it's remote learning or in person, is when I split the screen to show the file in Google Slides along with the Xylo app, this is too small because this thumbnail is in the way. Let me show you an example. I go over here. I'm going to just use a split screen, but again, you can use any way that you use to split the screen as I showed earlier. And I'm going to do this. So now I've got them on both on the same screen. I love it. I have the Xylophone app and I have the songbook, but this is too small. And if I go into present mode, it blocks out the other side of the screen. That's not what I'm trying to do. So what I need to do is I need to make this be larger, but in edit mode. So what I want to do is get rid of the thumbnails. I researched and researched, and this is the only way I could find it because there is no tool to just turn off the thumbnails. So I'm going to enlarge the side of the screen so you can see what I'm doing. This does work, and it's a little bit different, but bear with me. You're going to go up here to the Chrome menu and go into View. When you go into View, go down to Developer and go into Developer Tools. It is going to bring up a lot of code. In this code, you see it highlights like where you're looking. In this code, we're going to look for the word film strip. So I'm going to use my find tool. On an Apple, this is Command F. I believe on a PC or a Chromebook, you're talking about Control F. So it says find by string selector or XP path. So I'm going to put in film strip. The code I'm looking for is right there, TD class film strip. Notice how it is highlighted in my thumbnail? Perfect. I want to get rid of it. So I'm going to highlight it and hit delete. When I do this, now I'm going to close it, look at my songbook. It's much bigger. Let's reduce that tab. So we're showing 2 tabs on the same screen. We're splitting it again. And now my songbook is much bigger because I gotten rid of the thumbnails. Now, you want to have the thumbnails when you have to go back and edit things. So have you gotten rid of them permanently? No, only on the screen right now. If I reload the screen, the thumbnails are back. So what did I just do? Because this is what I'm trying to do when I'm presenting. I wouldn't ask the students to do this. They could mess with that code a lot. So I would not do this with students unless they're really into coding and this would amuse them, but I wouldn't do this with students. Again, I go to View, I go into Developer, Developer Tools, I use the Find function, I put in Film Strip. Yep, it has highlighted the code that I was looking for, which is that film strip code right there. I highlight it, that means I click on it, I click delete, it's now gone. And now you have a much bigger slide to work with in edit mode. Tip number 8 is another Google Slides. Tip number 8 comes from when I created this BoomWhacker file, and then Katie Wardrobe gave me the most amazing tip that I had no idea. So if you don't know Katie Wardrobe, she has the Midnight Music community. I will be upfront. I do work for her in the Midnight Music community. But this was such a great tip. I was like, what? I didn't even know this. And maybe you knew this. And you're like, geez, Amy, how did you not know this? But I didn't know this. So when you go into present mode in this BoomWhacker file, and what I did was I recorded BoomWhackers in Soundtrap, download them as MP3, and upload them into my Google Drive as MP3s, and then just went to insert audio and place them on top of this background image, okay? So the only thing that really can move on this page are the sound files. They sound great, I like them, and they're on there, but they are just that circle. Wouldn't it be nicer if they could just tap anywhere on the BoomWhacker? And then Katie showed me. Here I am. I have this audio icon, which will play a C BoomWhacker sound because I inserted the audio from my Google Drive just by doing it that way. And it has to be an MP3 at this moment in time, so it is. And then I use the shape tools, just using the cone here to create this BoomWhacker. So I use shapes, changed it to red, added a text tool, and grouped it. So now I'm going to take a screenshot of this. You can do this with however it helps in your device to do it. Click on the audio icon, and what Katie showed me was replace image. Replace the image of the audio icon. I didn't even know I could do this. So go upload from the computer. There it is. And here we go. We have it. So now it doesn't look right? Because it's only this big. There are ways to work around this because it's only taking that much. Even if I were to go and kind of resize it, as you can see, it's resizing over here, but it's still just not going to show me the entire picture that I did. Now, if you know a way around that, awesome. This is the way I went around it. There's always 26 different ways to do like one thing with technology, and I love that because it really is about what works best for you. So I am resizing it. See how I resized it? And then doing this and then doing this. So now what I have, I might just trim it a little bit that way. Now what I have is a BoomWhacker that's layered on top of another BoomWhacker. And the audio file is what's layered on top. So when they click it, can click it anywhere on the BoomWhacker. Now, it's a good thing I have a background of a yellow, but if, for example, your background was white, now you have this on top of it. And of course, this is just a little additional tip inside this tip. Take that picture and go to remove.bg. Take remove.bg, take the screenshot, put it in there, and what it will do is remove the background. That works quite well. If it didn't, click the edit, go into erase and restore, go into restore, and see what you need to restore. You can make that brush size as tiny and as large as you need it, and then start restoring. When you're done, download, and then just put that right back in here, and you won't have that yellow background except for, of course, the little tiny part I was putting back in. Make that your audio image and put that on top. So that's our tip, and I thank Katie Wardrobe for that tip. Tip number 9 is one that I love because it is really, really effective, but I will give my caveat at the end. Tip number 9 is taking something like the virtual play along for using the virtual xylophone with the March from the Nutcracker. So here I am on my YouTube page, and it's right there, and I have side videos. So Abby Watson is amazing, and follow her, and her bucket drumming videos are phenomenal. However, you might not be able to show the next video that's coming, or the side videos, or the comments. And what's really great is if you do this little trick, go into the URL. I'm not going to guarantee it works for everyone or every URL, just so you know. Between the T and the U, add the hyphen. Hit enter, and now you have gone into the nocookie.com. So it's now, there's no more ads, there's no more comments, and it actually won't jump to the next video. My experience, it just loops the video all over again, and you can share out that link so that students can use it. Here there are some caveats. In Google Slides, if you put this no cookie link in, it doesn't embed into Google Slides. It will allow you to go out of Google Slides and use it, but it doesn't embed into it. However, with Google Slides insert video and you put the YouTube URL in it, it mostly takes out, it will take out the comments and it will take out the side videos. It does still jump videos as far as I know, unless you're editing it in a way so it won't do that. That's my first caveat. The second caveat that's always brought back to me is when you do something like this, you use ViewPure, or you're using SafeShare.tv, or you're using this tip, YouTube creator is going to have issues with this. There are ways that a YouTube creator can stop YouTube videos from being shared. Now, when they do that, they can't click on YouTube video is made for kids. They have to turn that choice off. And then in the license and distribution, you can say that this cannot be shared on other channels.
Number 10 is
creating a digital resource to share with your students, because at this moment in time, you cannot sing together or insert whatever it is you cannot do together right now, whether it's singing or playing recorders or ukuleles, or you insert it there. So creating a resource that you're able to share with them on some sort of learning management system so that they can access it from home and make music along with you. One of the tools that I love is Zoom to do this. Now, we always think of Zoom as using it for conversing with the students and meeting with the students and breakout rooms, and it's wonderful for all that. But even if you're not allowed to use Zoom, you can use it to create resources. There's just a really great hidden ways to make resources using Zoom. So you create your free educator's account. When you create that account with your educator's email address, you have unlimited access to a call, meaning it's not 45 minutes and it cuts off. You have unlimited access. So you create your account and then start a meeting, but you're not going to invite anyone to it. Then press record. So now you're recording your meeting. That means everything on screen is being recorded. Go to share the screen. Now, if you're worried about your device can't handle virtual backgrounds, because my device could not when we started in March, this is not the virtual backgrounds. That would be through the stop video portion. This is sharing the screen. So it's actually a different tool. So you click share the screen, but instead of sharing the screen, you're going to click the advanced tab and then go right over here to slides as virtual background. Let's say in PowerPoint you have created slides for recorder karate or for ukulele play-alongs, or you have created lyric sheets, or just like I've done, you put lyrics on the screen and you have these in PowerPoint. So what you would do is click that on slides as virtual background, find the file, and then Zoom converts each slide into a virtual background for you and then places you onto the screen. You can make yourself big, large, small, however, whatever you want there. And then there's a little arrow. This is my homemade arrow, but there's an arrow there on the screen where you can click and progress through the slides. So ways that this can help you is you can create a resource of you singing and they sing along with you at home. Or you're playing the ukulele and these words here are all ukulele lead sheets with chords and fingerings. Or you're playing the recorder for half the screen, the fingering chart along with a simple melody. And they can play along at home. The possibilities are endless. Think of the instrument and then think of the resource that you're trying to share. So this helps you create that resource. When your recording is done, Zoom will share it in the cloud, will save it in the cloud, or it will go down to your hard drive, which I have external hard drives to catch the Zoom files because they can be quite large. Then I would place it on Seesaw, Google Classroom, or Canvas, or Schoology. I would place it there, and then students can access it and sing along at home, play along at home, continue that music making that's not right now able to occur in your classroom or on your cart or however you're teaching right now. This will be helpful to create those resources. Some additional fun ways to do this besides using Zoom, of course I'm using Loom, is just to put up lyric sheets on, and in Loom, press the screen record button like you start recording. And then just use the pointer and sing and have them follow the bouncy ball. And you can do that. Have an iPad. David Rao gave a great example. What he did is he went into the settings and accessed his virtual home button, because if you're on a later device, there's no longer those push home buttons. So there's this virtual home button that you can access in the settings. He just plays lyrics or plays, a melody that they're playing, and then he screen record that I showed you earlier, and then just moved the home button over the lyrics or the music to show the students how to play along with him. So these little resources to use, Zoom, Loom, Screencastify, Screencast-O-Matic, WeVideo does screen recording, Flipgrid does screen recording. All of these can be great, useful tools so that you can share with your students. Finally, these take time. So I always suggest, if you're looking for some sort of recorder song, check YouTube first and see if you can share the YouTube video first so you don't have to recreate the wheel. We only have so much time in the day, and we have to remember to take care of ourselves. So my final tip is to take care of yourself. Stop, take a nap. I know that's easier said than done. Have hot chocolate or lemonade, depending on what your environment is right now and your climate is. But take that time to stop and take care of yourself, because you are important, you are doing a great job, and you are making a difference. Because there's just that one child where music is going to be the only smile of their day. And whether they listen to you on a pre-recorded video or they see you once every 3 weeks in an optional specialist class, know that you're making a difference for that one child, and hopefully more, but even just for that one child, we know it's worth it. So take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next episode. Remember to smile at least once a day, and enjoy, if you are heading towards a break, enjoy that time off.